one thing I always say is this, is that whatever we focus on, we will get in return. And that is everything in life. If you're focusing on the negativity of your bills, your nosy neighbor, your job that you dislike so much, like anytime you're focusing on something that does not serve you, something that makes you angry, sad, anxious, fearful, depressed, whatever the case may be, and the more you linger on these thoughts, the more you focus on them, that's exactly what you get in return. So something that I learned is that the life you focus on becomes the life you experience.
I create clear thinking and decisive leaders who can amplify their influence. Contact me to find out how I can help you or your organisation. And today our guest is Carlo Taormina. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you, Judith?
I'm good. What makes you amazing?
I woke up today, so that's already a win for me.
Brilliant. I think that's a good lead into what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, just tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I am a men's high performance slash mindset coach. I am also a keynote speaker, and it's been something I've been doing for quite some time now over the span of the last 4 years. During the pandemic, I started to become a coach. Originally, it started in personal training, but as the universe, God, whatever, took me through this weird journey and falling into a deep mental health crisis, I eventually came out of that dark tunnel, found the light bulb or the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And I had this new calling, this new purpose. And I told myself, this is how I'm going to help people from now on. I'm going to help these highly driven, high ambitious people to overcome adversity, to be able to help them perform at their highest level, whether it be in their business or in their personal life, and really overcome anything that's holding them back mentally.
Thank you for that. I think that's quite a passion-filled purpose. I'm assuming there that it comes from something you've gone through.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to share?
Yeah, of course. I never thought I was going to be this mindset guy, this peak performance
Mm.
guy, speaker. I never thought that was ever in the cards for me. So towards the end of 2020, right before Christmas, right before my birthday, I went through this pretty transformative week. I like to call it my hell week. It was something that I really wasn't expecting. And it was as if Murphy's Law had really come into play here. And it was like, if anything could go wrong, would go wrong. So basically, in this week, to kind of break it down piece by piece in the span of 7 days, at the time, I did have this job where I did have my business, but it wasn't full time yet. I'll explain that in a moment. But I had this job. I was a manager of a fitness club, of a gym. And I've always been like a part of fitness. Fitness has always been a part of my life. I love it. It's always been part of my identity. And during this week, as I'm working in the gym, I find out that I get fired from this job right before the
Mm.
holidays, right before everything. And I'm just saying to myself, wow, what a perfect time to, be unemployed. So
Yeah.
now I'm stricken with panic, anxiety, like fear. I'm just saying to myself, what do I do? I have to get a job really quickly. Timing couldn't have been worse. And then to tack on to that, there was this girl I was seeing at the time who I was in love with. She said she was in love with me. She was the one saying, we're going to have kids. Carla, we're going to get married. And seeing how invested this person was in the relationship, I also became really invested in it. And then she calls me randomly during the same week, says, hey, Carlo, let's break up. So something very unexpected just happened again. And then to add more salt to the wound, during that week, I had this really bad back injury. I don't know if you know what it is, or what it's like, but I had a herniated disc, my L5S1 vertebrae. And it's probably the most painful thing I've ever had to experience. And it was so painful. There was a period of time during that winter where I just couldn't walk because it was just that painful. So, being the fitness guy, being told that you just need to lay in bed and not move, I couldn't if I wanted to. It kind of broke me. One, because I need to move. And two, I have all these thoughts in my head and I can't do anything about it. I'm just laying there with these thoughts. And then to kind of put the cherry on the cake, so to speak, the business I had at the time was I'm a personal trainer, so I had my own online fitness business. Now, this online fitness business is performing terribly. I'm losing money. I'm going into debt. I'm spending more money than I'm making. So, in the span of 7 days, I have no job, not making any money. I'm losing money. I have a broken back and a broken heart. And I didn't know how to respond to it. I didn't know how to react to it because I just got hit from every single angle. And I honestly didn't know what to do. I was dumbfounded. I was shocked. It was like one of those things, when unfortunately a loved one passes away and it feels like a dream state, like it's not real. That's the equivalent, I would say, of what I was feeling at the time. And as I'm kind of processing everything that just happened, I just ask myself and have a conversation with myself. I just say, what's the point of this? You know, I've always been one to wanting to help people. I've always wanted to be successful, always wanted to be somebody in this world. But it seems no matter what I do, I always fail. No matter what I touch, always turns to dust. No matter whoever I talk to, what I try, every single time it just fails. So as I'm telling myself this story, it develops into a larger story. And that's where I start to build a lot of limiting beliefs about myself. I'm calling myself every single name you can imagine. I'm calling myself a professional loser. I even said to myself, if losing was an Olympic sport, I would be a gold medalist at it. And through this negative self talk, through this lack of fulfillment I was feeling, because when I kind of came terms to reality or what I thought my reality would look like, is I'm just a nobody who's just like everyone else, I suppose, who is just going to work some job that he doesn't love and is going to be unfulfilled for the rest of his life. He has no purpose. He will never amount to anything. And he's just here to exist. And that really broke me. And that's where a lot of lack of fulfillment came. So now, not only do I feel less than, not capable of anything, I can't achieve anything. And I have this limiting belief and these stories I keep telling myself. But when I was faced with this potential reality that I kind of set up for myself, I didn't see a point. I didn't see a purpose. I didn't see fulfillment in it. So when I was in that state, I just said to myself, what's the point? I'm done. I quit. And that's exactly what I did, is I just quit. I stopped trying. So this is 2021 now, brand new year, and it's like the worst start to the year. And for the entire year, practically, I am literally laying in bed every single day. Eventually, my back didn't heal 100%, but I'm walking. I still feel some pain here and there, but the pain did subside. But I could care less if I could walk or not. I just laid in bed every single day. I didn't care about anything, and the only mission I had during my days was, how can I not think? How can I turn my brain off? How can I sleep as much as possible? Because I couldn't cope with my thoughts. I couldn't cope with my feelings, my emotions. So I would disassociate myself as much as I can. I would escape as much as I can. I would watch TV. I would listen to music. I would play video games. I would do anything just to escape. But eventually these things wore off because no matter what, I would get triggered somehow. I would find, this musician that is rich and famous now, and they have all the money in the world, and I'm just here. I would see a child actor on TV, never having to work a regular job in his life, and he's living his dream, and I'm here, right? I compared myself a lot to people, and being somebody who is extremely ambitious, high achieving, and who would used to tell himself that, oh, you're going to make it, you're going to do great things. And then seeing where I was at rock bottom, literally laying in bed every day, it took hit of my identity that I held for myself. And the self hatred just grew, right? And I'm at this point where I'm not eating. I lost 13 pounds. I'm not communicating with my family, not communicating with my friends. Mind you, I'm also living at home with my parents, right? So I'm living at home with my parents. I'm still not even communicating with them. I just, I wanted to shut everything and everyone out because I felt embarrassed. I felt guilty. I felt ashamed. And I didn't want to face the world anymore because I thought, what was the point to it? So being in this mental headspace, I thought the only way to escape this pain was to take my own life because I couldn't find a way out. I tried therapy, that didn't work. I really did put in effort, you know, but no matter what, nothing worked. And it just made me feel even less than because I was saying to myself, I'm like, hey, universe, look at me. I'm trying to get better. I don't want to stay like this. I don't want to stay depressed. Throw me a bone. Give me something. Let me give me a break. But nothing different happened. So this is going on for a year. And now the point comes where I'm just saying to myself, you know what? I just need to do it. I need to clock out early, so to speak. I need to take my own life because I can't cope anymore. I can't do it anymore. The thoughts are unbearable. And there was one day where, during the afternoon, I'm upstairs in my bedroom, of course, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not speaking to anybody. And I said to myself, I can't live another day like this. So I pulled out my gun and I'm at the threshold. I like to call it the threshold. I like to say that a lot because it was like at that crossing line, the line drawn in the sand, so to speak, that one point where once you go across, there's no coming back. And I was at that point. And I'm about to do the deed. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm just saying, okay, this is it. Here we go. And as I was at that point, I was having so much anxiety. I had a panic attack. I had a anxiety attack. I couldn't go through with it. I was um, terribly emotional, crying. But the worst part is that I was alone. And I felt alone, not only during that specific time, but the entire year, as I just felt so alone. And even though I didn't end my life that day, it made me feel worse because it was like prolonging the pain. And then after I just calmed down a little bit, I said to myself, you know what? It may not happen today, but it'll happen later on, right? It's not a matter of if, but when. So I kind of delayed that process. And then we're still in 2021, and now we're moving into the fall. And I remember one day, my mom, she asks me, hey, let's go out to lunch today. Let's get out of the house. Let's get you out of the house. Let's do something different. It'll help you out. And of course, my immediate answer is no, leave me alone. I just want to stay here in my bed. Eventually, my family kind of wore me down and I go out to lunch. Now, it was the most awkward lunch of my life. I am essentially what it feels like sitting by myself, even though my family's surrounding me, they're having conversations, they're laughing, they're getting along. I'm just sitting by myself, essentially, just eating my food in silence, not speaking to anybody. And then towards the end of the meal, my brother comes to me and he says, hey, we're all going to mom's house. How about you ride home with me? I say, okay, no problem. And then we're driving home, nothing, no conversation was really, it was just basic conversation. But then we park in the driveway at my parents' house, at the house I was living at the time. And we have like a 10-minute conversation, but this 10-minute conversation felt as though it lasted an eternity. It was like time stood still. And from this conversation, it put me on the path to finding this breakthrough out of depression, out of suicide. So my brother puts the car in park. Okay. And he just asks me, he says, hey man, what can we do? Where do we go from here? We've tried everything. We don't know what else we can do. So if there's something you would like us to do, please let us know because we don't know what else we can do to help you. And I responded to my brother. I said, there's nothing you can do. I appreciate what all of you have tried to do, but there's nothing you can do. Trust me, if I could find a way, if I found a new solution or new thing to try, I would be doing it. It's not like I want to stay here. but I can't find it. And I don't think there is such a thing. So you should just give up because I already did. And, my brother, my whole family is very stubborn. So my brother didn't want to accept that answer. And then he asked me something. He just said, I'm your brother and I would do anything for you. You're my brother. Would you do anything for me? And without hesitation, I said, of course, we're brothers. I'll do anything for you. We're family. Well, I didn't realize he was kind of setting me up for like a trap because he says, okay, perfect, Carlo. I have a favor I need from you. Can you do it? And I'm feeling stupid because I didn't realize I was a trap. And then he's saying, well, I say, okay, well, what's this favor do you need from me? What can I do for you? My brother says, I need you to get out of here. I need you to get on a plane, take a trip, do something because obviously what's happening right now is not working. So do something different, go somewhere. And my immediate reaction is that my brother is stupid. This is idiotic. And I tell him, I was like, do you not know how hard it was to get out of bed to go to, go in public, which at the time it was like social anxiety was terrible. Go out in public, go out to lunch with you all. It was like scratching a chalkboard, like how hard and how icky that feels. Like that's what it felt like to me just to go out to lunch.
Okay.
And now I'm sorry.
No, okay, so I can see how hard this must have been and how you must have thought your whole family was crazy. So if we zip forward a little bit there, did you follow like a plan or something to get yourself out of it? I mean, what can you share with the audience in terms of if they've been in a similar situation where it just doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever? How do you get out of that? Because that must be so debilitating.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because I didn't follow a plan. I didn't try, medical thing. Like I didn't do anything. I didn't plan
Right.
anything. Honestly, I call it divine intervention, right? I
Okay.
felt like universe, God, or whatever, came in the right place at the right time. So what I will say is for anyone and like me with this position I was in, I realized that my life didn't need years, months, weeks to change. My life literally changed in one moment that led to one decision that led to one action.
Mm.
And those all came from this conversation I had with my brother in the car. That was one moment that led to a decision that I agreed to go on this trip that he was telling me about. And then the action I took was I got out of bed and I got on a plane. And I didn't know what to expect when I got to this destination. I didn't know what to do. We didn't have a plan, but somehow, some way, not by coincidence, but at the exact place, the exact time, exact location we were at, I encountered what honestly was a miracle that I needed, that I didn't think existed. And it all just came from me making a decision and taking action.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. Let's listen to a quick advert.
The Maverick Paradox. Judith Germain is an author, speaker, consultant, mentor, and trainer, and the leading authority on Maverick leadership. She is the founder of the Maverick Paradox, which supports organizations to enhance their leadership capabilities and to help business owners develop and grow their businesses. Judith enables individuals, business owners, and organizations to improve their impact and influence. She is also HR Zone's leadership columnist, and her expert opinion has appeared in national, international, and trade press.
Welcome back to the Maverick Paradox. This is the podcast for the pathologically curious. So, how can other people overcome those mental setbacks that stop them performing? Because I know you said you're a high performance coach, so you must come across people who do have those mental setbacks. What can they do to overcome them?
Yeah, of course. So there's so many different ways people have setbacks, whether it be limiting beliefs, whether they lack motivation. There's so many different angles to target it, right? So there's not one specific answer, but one thing I will say that kind of covers a lot of bases is understanding, no matter if it's personal, professional, whatever comes our way that makes us feel negative, that makes us feel less than our normal selves, one thing I always say is this, is that whatever we focus on, we will get in return. And that is everything in life. If you're focusing on the negativity of your bills, your nosy neighbor, your job that you dislike so much, like anytime you're focusing on something that does not serve you, something that makes you angry, sad, anxious, fearful, depressed, whatever the case may be, and the more you linger on these thoughts, the more you focus on them, that's exactly what you get in return. So something that I learned is that the life you focus on becomes the life you experience. Just because everything that is so wrong is always available, that's fine and dandy. But everything that is right in the world and your life is also available. And we have a choice to select which we choose to focus on. So I personally choose to focus on everything that is serving me, everything that I'm grateful for, everything that is amazing in my life and the world. And that's what really helps me. And I know it can help a lot of people, is that if we shift our focus from what's not serving us to what does serve us, that will put us in a better position to become the best version of ourselves.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. I imagine it's not always easy. Is there almost like a pre-step? Because I mean, just the thought of doing something different when you're in that space must be hard. Is there a pre-step to decide? Do you know? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
But I think I'm catching up what you're saying. So something I would say to everybody is that we don't make the best decisions when we are in these states of negativity, sadness, anger, fear, anxiety. Just ask yourself personally, have I made good decisions when I'm angry? Have I made good decisions when I'm sad? I'm pretty sure if I could be a mind reader for a moment, I'm pretty sure the answer is no. So, how do I immediately change my state in order to become not only the best version of myself, but how can I make the best decisions? So, something that I learned that helps me, that I help my clients with, is understanding the correlation between your physical body, your body language, and how it affects your mental state. Right. So if people reflect and kind of take a time machine back to moments where they felt angry, sad, depressed, anxious, fearful, whatever the case may be. If you take a look at your body language, it's a big indicator of how you're feeling, right? If you're not being self-aware enough. So I can guarantee everybody, this is what happened to me, is that when I'm sad, angry, any negative emotion, I just crumble up in a ball on the couch, or I'll lay in bed, or I'll sit down in the chair and my shoulders are slumped forward, my head's tilted down, and I'm not speaking clearly. I'm not enunciating my words. I'm just mumbling my words, not speaking with enough volume. And if you really take notice of that, brain and body, they communicate. So for anyone who needs to get started, so to speak, anyone who needs to immediately exit or escape the negative state, you need to change your body language, because energy is everything, right? So being a peak performance coach, if people want to access the true version of themselves, achieve high results, you need to be at a high energy, right? No one's going to win the World Cup if you're just just walking around being lazy, not doing anything, being like a slug, right? So I understood is that I need to immediately move my body radically. I don't care if I'm doing jumping jacks, sprinting in place, push-ups, dancing. I don't care. My personal favorite is dancing. I'll just be here in my office moving about like a fool. But if you dramatically move your body and change your physiology, scientifically proven, you're actually producing and releasing serotonin in the brain, which is a mood boosting hormone. So it's literally making you feel better. That's like not baloney. It's not BS. That is legit scientific fact. So once you are in a better state by simply moving your body, by getting up, you're already in a state of feeling better, but in a state of clarity. So that way you can make better decisions. And a good example I like to say is, even when I was in therapy, even when I was talking with my family, even when I was researching, Googling, YouTubing how to overcome depression, There was so much valuable information there, but I wasn't accepting it because I was not in the proper state. But I guarantee you, when you're in that proper state, everything starts to make sense. So, a frame, a video, a picture, a movie I like to paint for people is, imagine you are in university, you're in school, and one day during math, your teacher says, "Hey, we have a math quiz or math test today, but I have a cheat sheet for you. Here's all the answers, and I'm giving it to you." On a normal day, you'd be ecstatic, you'd be happy, and you'll accept the information. But today, your classmate right next to you just spilled hot coffee, hot tea all over you. You're burning, it hurts, your shirt's all dirty, it's messed up. And your teacher comes up to you and says, "Hey, I have a cheat sheet here for you for the quiz. Here you go, I'm giving it to you. Here's the information." You are going to care less about the free information. You don't care. You just want to get out of the class. You want to go home. You want to take your shirt off, throw in the laundry, have ice cream, and sit on the couch for the rest of the day. Right? And that's what happened to me, is that I was never in the right state when I was depressed, laying in bed every day. I couldn't accept it. But when I started moving, when I drastically changed my body language, that's when the light bulb went off. That's where I started realizing all of this actually made sense. And then I felt better, and then I was in the better state to make decisions.
Mm-hmm. So that's the key way then, body language.
Yeah, that's definitely very foundational.
Okay. I think also getting out into nature can make a big difference, like going for that walk, I always think like being where the trees are, where you'll have more oxygen coming into the body.
The sunlight
makes such a big difference. Yeah, sunlight. Which I think why people got a lot more. One of the reasons why depression increased during COVID, because people weren't going out, they weren't feeling the wind on their body and the sun on their faces.
Yeah, vitamin D.
Well, I'm glad you are still here sharing all the insights that you've had following your difficult times. Before we finish, is there one last thing that you want to say or share?
Yeah. For anybody out there listening, watching, wherever you're accessing this podcast, and you feel like there is no hope, there is no point, you'll never achieve fulfillment, success, whatever the case may be, and you don't see a logical way out of your problem, out of the negativity, I promise you there is a way. The only thing you have to do is just live out the rest of today. And then tomorrow, exact same thing. Because eventually something will come along that you do not expect that will change your life. And I know that sounds like a fantasy, like unreal, woo-woo. Because I was in the exact same position that you are, if you're feeling that way right now. And the unthinkable happened, right? I didn't plan this divine intervention to help me, and it changed my life. And now I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm helping people with the same problem I had, find fulfillment, be the best version of themselves. Like, what? So if you're in that state, literally the only thing you have to do is just live out today. And the same thing, do the same thing tomorrow. And then you'll find that breakthrough.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. I find that quite inspiring. Carlo, that's great. Is there anything that you want to give to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the business of serving, so I want to serve. So I would love to offer a free coaching call to anyone listening that definitely needs the help. I would love to start the conversation. And in order to do that, they could just go to my Instagram, Carlo Taormina _coach, and just send me DM. And I would love to start the conversation, see if I can help.
Brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you out there for tuning in to the Maverick Paradox podcast. I'm Judith Germain, your host, and I hope you enjoyed listening to today's conversation.
The Maverick Paradox Magazine. The Maverick Paradox Magazine is for the pathologically curious. Written by a swagger of socialized mavericks who are divergent thinkers, the magazine tackles the biggest issues affecting maverick leaders today. You might be a business owner, or a leader within an organization who wants to have your thinking challenged, to be exposed to a diversity of thought, or to learn from diverse experts in their fields? If so, the Maverick Paradox magazine is for you. Join the swagger at themaverickparadox.com and engage in the conversation.